V.R. Raman is a public policy expert with 3 decades experience across different Indian states and globally. His sectoral development and policy work profile covering health, nutrition, wash, environment, disaster management, education, and social welfare sectors. He has unique involvement with several national flagship missions such as Jal Jeevan Mission, Swachh Bharat Mission, National Health Mission, National Literacy Mission, and Poshan Abhiyan. He has worked with government agencies, civil societies organizations, research centers and training as well as academic institutions. He is founder and later the director in charge of State Health Resource Center in Chhattisgarh. He is also founder national convener of Public Health Resource Network. He convenes the health desk of the All India People Science Network as well. He did his public health studies and research from University of Western Cape, South Africa.
So thanks to the convener, co-convener of this session, and also all people associated with this initiatives at the National Institute of Hydrology. And this is something a very important topic that the public health linkages of the water and sanitation that the institute has picked up. So I'm very glad, and also very feeling sitting in a very important and significant kind of initiative that will actually will help the country in achieving some of the critical parameters in terms of public health and the linkages of water sanitation and hygiene with public health, specifically in the context of healthcare facilities. So this is where my presentation is positioning. So this is about water, sanitation, and hygiene in the healthcare facilities. That is the context. So you can see that in the how our healthcare facilities are, and I'll come to the importance of healthcare facilities. Why equipping them with water and sanitation, hygiene is important for not only the better healthcare services, but also for the health outcomes of people. We'll go into very quickly into the talk now. So if you look at the context of Washington healthcare facilities, we need to see that around 30% of India's population spend significant amount of time in various institutions that includes schools or healthcare facilities and all that. In the healthcare facilities, this will be less. But if you look at the rural population's use of healthcare facilities for the healthcare services, we see that close to 50% of people of India, India's rural population, they are using the public healthcare facilities, meaning the government-run healthcare facilities. The private healthcare facilities are not always affordable for many people, hence the importance of the public healthcare facilities. That said, I'm not saying the private healthcare facilities are not important, they are also equally important. So we have around 26,000 primary healthcare centers and around 6,000 community health centers and around 734 district hospitals and a large number of sub-centers we call health sub-centers. And according to the recent data, India is having 78.9% of institutional delivery that is happening. So that means, close to 78% of our children or 79% of our children are taking birth in the healthcare institutions. So this is something to be noted significantly when we are talking about the wash infrastructure and wash services in the healthcare facilities. And similarly, we have around around 2.5 crore children born annually, 25.8 million, that is the kind of estimate. And 22 out of 1,000, 22 neonates under, within 1,000 live births are dying even now. While the target here is about 10, so we are still losing 22 neonates. I mean, within specific days of their birth, they are dying. And maternal mortality ratio per 1 lakh live births in India is coming down, but it is still at a higher level of 113. There are some states which are doing well in terms of this, and there are some states, which actually are doing poorly as well. So the range may not be range may be starting from a very low, maternal mortality ratio to a very high maternal mortality ratio, close to 200. It reaches in some states. So what the a global action plan for working healthcare facility says is very important to understand. Every healthcare facility in every setting has safely managed reliable water, sanitation and hygiene facilities, and practices to meet staff and patient needs, both staff and patient needs, in order to provide quality, safe, people-centered care. So if you want to provide quality, safe, and people-centered care, the action plan suggests that the health facilities needs to have safely managed, reliable water, sanitation, and hygiene facilities. So the particular attention to the needs of women, girls, and children to be given in this, setting, because they are most vulnerable. So to achieve this, in order to achieve this, a health system strengthening approach is required, whereby WASH will be positioned within the health system building blocks of leadership and governance, healthcare financing, health workforce, medical products and technologies, information and research, and service delivery. So this is how it is seen. So if I put it in little more clarity, you can see the system building blocks. You can see the outcomes like the improved health, responsiveness, financial risk protection, improved efficiency, all that. But within that, quite often the missing point, happens to be safe and reliable water supply, safe and accessible toilets for patients and staff for all genders, ages, and abilities. Meaning, accessible toilets are also important when it comes to abilities and ages. And then good hand hygiene infrastructure and services for healthcare providers and facility users, both not only patients, the relatives and care, people supporting them, etc. And then effective cleaning of all the patient care areas within the facility, and personal protection and safety of health workforce, and safe waste management systems. This includes general solid and liquid waste, and also the biomedical waste, which is quite commonly, emerges from the healthcare facilities. So quality of care protocols to ensure all this is also quite important when it comes to washing healthcare facilities. So this, we need to integrate them within the various building blocks of the healthcare health systems. That is where the action plan is going to succeed. So if we come to the sustainable development goal context, the washing healthcare facilities are very clearly mentioned in two of the 17 goals. The first one is good health and well-being, which is very clearly, of the, reducing maternal mortality to less than 70, and end preventable deaths of newborns and children under 5 years, reduce neonatal mortality to at least 12, and under 5 mortality to at least 25, achieve universal health coverage, including access to quality essential healthcare services. This quality essential healthcare services is quite important when we are talking about the quality. Is not only about how the healthcare providers are providing the specific services, the context around it has been provided is also important, wherein water, sanitation, hygiene becomes quite important. And finally, the access to safe, effective, quality, and affordable essential medicines and vaccines, that also comes into. But sixth goal, sustainable development goal is about achieving universal and equitable access to safe and affordable drinking water for all, and by 2030 to also achieve the access to adequate and equitable sanitation and hygiene for all, and end open defecation, paying special attention to the needs of women and girls and those in vulnerable situations. So these goals together, if you look at, it's very important that the institutions, specifically the healthcare facilities, are providing water, sanitation, hygiene services, because that is where the education starts. If the healthcare facilities themselves are providing poor water, sanitation, hygiene services, we cannot actually expect the communities to practice them or to achieve them at the household level. So it's very important that the healthcare institutions are showing way about what is the ideal hygiene situation, what is the ideal kind of sanitation situation, and what is the ideal drinking water situation. So in this context, we need to see how our healthcare facilities are performed. So there are some very important frameworks that is available in the country. So in 2015, you can see that there are two things that was introduced. One is called the Swachhata Guideline. Swachhata Guideline actually very clearly spelled out how sanitation and hygiene and water should be ensured within the healthcare facilities. And similarly, Kayakalp competition awards was introduced in the same year, which actually looked at the visible cleanliness of the facilities as well as the various water sanitation hygiene services within the facilities. And there is a scoring and award kind of program there. And then in 2016, the government also introduced something called the Swachh Swasthya Sarvatra, triple S. Swachh Swasthya Sarvatra is something for promoting or it's a kind of incentivization of water sanitation hygiene in the facilities. Once they achieved the open defecation status, they were given some special funding. So that is how the Swachh Swasthya Sarvatra operates. And then in 2017, there are two things. One is Lakshya and the other is the Vishwas. Lakshya is about labor room quality, kind of issue. So what we call is labor room quality improvement initiative. That is where it is. The acronym is Lakshya, but essentially it is about labor room quality improvement. Then village-based initiative to synergize health, water, and sanitation is Vishwas. So wherein the facilities within the villages, including the health sub-centers and all, were covered. And then we have the Kayakalp initiatives. The initial award later was segmented into a very clear guideline of how to achieve them, what are the indicators, how to measure, etc., etc. So that was introduced in 2018. And in 19, the Swachh Swasthya Sarvatra from the rural primary healthcare facilities, it was also extended to the urban facilities. So let us see what are the kind of indicators for WASH in healthcare facilities set up by the SDG program, the UN Joint Monitoring Program of SDGs. They have set up some indicators from no service to limited service to basic service. And for water, for sanitation, for hygiene, for waste management, and for environmental cleanliness, there are segregated set of services. And the ideal, the minimum level of achievement or the ideal level of achievement is expected to be by 2013. All the health facilities across the world will achieve basic services. So within that, if we look at what is our situation based on the JMP report recently, this is to be noted that this is based on the Kayakalp survey, self-declared survey of the facility. So not necessarily this is verified, but of course, this indicates 94% of healthcare, 6% of the healthcare facilities are not having water service, 11 is not having sanitation or hand washing facilities and near toilet hand washing facilities, some lacunae over there. Waste management, there are improvement to do, and also protocols for cleaning and training on cleaning. That is also the environmental cleanliness part. That is also having some specific gaps according to this. Now, if you look at the same thing, same kind of data, from an independent study perspective, things get changed. The independent study that WaterAid has done recently, what we see is that in health sub-centers, only 48% of them from the sample that we studied, only 48% of the health sub-centers had water within the premises. And only the PHCs, we found that they have 100% we could find, but district hospital, area hospital, and other types of facilities, there was gaps about these services. And then we need to look at the sources. Not necessarily they have running water. Some of them are still, depending on borewell hand pump, 42% of them. Borewell power pump, 35% of them are depending on that. And 5% of them are having piped water scheme, and connection, 16% of them are having connections. And still there are 2% of facilities wherein the water is supplied by tanker, truck, or cart. So this is something to be looked at. So this 48% of sub-centers depending on hand pumps, 31% of PHCs depending on hand pumps, 33% of CHCs depending on hand pumps is a issue that we need to address. And when you look at the availability of water among the healthcare facilities with water source on premises, water available, in various areas, procedure areas, only 37% had water available. Patient care units, only 44% had water available. OPD areas, only 42% had water available. And the toilets, only 72% had water available. And hand washing units, only 60% had. So these are the kind of gaps that we need to understand when it comes to improving our healthcare facilities in terms of water, sanitation, and hygiene services. When it comes to toilets, 19% of healthcare facilities are still requiring functional toilets, and cleanliness lacked in toilets, and often the toilet attached to a labor room, so it is not accessible for everyone who is coming to the healthcare facility. And some healthcare facilities, they did have toilets, but they are connected to a single or twin leach pit design. Comparing to the kind of patient footfall in those facilities, they may require a larger containing capacity or a containing structure, which is not sufficient if it is a single leach pit or a twin leach pit. Therein, they may require better holding capacities. So these are the issues about toilets. When it comes to hand hygiene facilities and biomedical waste segregation, what we are seeing is that again, the presence of water and soap in hand washing facilities is a major issue that we are seeing. If you see that the presence of water is, seen under the what you call the blue line, and the green line shows, presence of soap and alcohol-based hand sanitizer or yeah. So here, if you see that the overall availability of these facilities are less than 50% in most cases. So you can see that around 35 to 37% of points of care had water. Similarly, PP domed and doffed areas, we have around 27% had water. Entrance and exits around 27%, 26% had water, and the waiting rooms in public locations around 30% had water, and similarly healthcare waste locations around 26% had water, and the 5 meter from toilets, if you look at, around 36 had water. And similarly, when it comes to soap and alcohol based hand sanitizers, that is almost at the similar level. So there is a lot of improvement that is needed when it comes to these areas. Now, coming to the biomedical waste segregation. So only 57% of subcenter had the biomedical waste segregation, and 69% of PSCs had the biomedical waste segregation, and CSCs only 50 had, because the level is that the more we are going into CSC and district hospital kind of situation, the requirement of biomedical waste management becomes high, and we are seeing that the adequacy in terms of biomedical waste management facilities are not fully achieved by most of our healthcare facilities. So the data that I'm sharing here is of February, March 2021. It's not that old. It's a very recent survey, sample survey that we did as part of a baseline study. So what are the requirements here? This is where we need to understand the roadmap. So first, we need to assess. We need to understand all these parameters, how the healthcare facilities are equipped with water, sanitation, and hygiene in all required areas, and all for all kinds of users there, whether it is the staff of the health system, whether it's the patients, whether it is the attendants of the patients, or those other visitors who comes to the hospital or the healthcare facility. So you need to have a comprehensive assessment, and that comprehensive assessment should need to capacity building of health staff and engineers, who actually are going to look at or provide, or fill these gaps, and then resource assessment and allocation, for the gap filling within specific facilities, to assess them, to prepare a situation report, and then to provide, these are the kind of gaps to be filled, and these are the kind of resources available for this in a short, medium, and long run. So that is how it should be run. And then undertaking the both software and hardware improvement. Software in the sense, quite often having the infrastructure is not enough. You need to have the behavior of the patients, the supporters or the attendants of the patients, and even hospital staff and the doctors and nurses and attendants. All of them would require some behavioral intervention as well for improving the utilization of the available ward services. So that is where the software comes. So you need to have education, maybe interpersonal communication and various other kind of strategies for achieving the wash behaviors, desired wash behaviors, and then the hardwares required for that, whether it is hand washing station, whether it is improved number of toilets. You need to have gender segregated toilets. We need to have accessible toilets. And we need to have a toilet for the staff, regular use of staff, toilets for visitors, toilets for inpatients. So all that needs to be seen from an understanding. And then we need to see this, based on the plan, then supportive supervision and monitoring for results, improving the usage and all that. That is also quite important. And finally, scaling up this to beyond what is written in the guidelines, to make the facilities ideal to reach, say, if all our public facilities and the private facilities can achieve the National Accreditation Board for Hospital NABH standards. So within that, so Kayakalp is the, we need to see all these as ladder approach. Maybe Kayakalp, what is said by Kayakalp, Purlakshya or Swachha Sarvatra are the basic parameters, and we need to see further how to improve the actual kind of service provision in our healthcare facilities to a better level. So for that, we can look at other standards and scale up things further. So this is the kind of roadmap that could be used by Washington healthcare facilities. And for that, you can look at infection prevention and control as one of the major objectives. So in the infection prevention and control segment of healthcare provision, water sanitation and hygiene plays a very, very important role. Very important role in the sense, the moment, one of the important finding is that the moment healthcare providers are able to, do infection prevention better, they have their hand hygiene better, that leads to, a lot of reduction in the hospital-based spreading of infections, and also related mortalities, related morbidities. So these are something to be, the steps. If you look at assessment, I already said orientation and training, and then participatory assessment, assessment tool, and the kind of methods finalization, training, participatory assessment, and then going to supportive supervision and support, hand holding and supportive supervision. All these can have review and evaluation of the facility, gap assessment, facility improvement, implementation of the plan, internal monitoring, again review and evaluation. So this moves like a circle. And then this also, the capacity building initiative here, it integrates regular on-site observation and suggestions for improvement component by the infection prevention and control committees. There are supposed to be the primary healthcare facilities like the primary health center or the community health center or the district hospital. All of them are supposed to have the infection prevention committees. And we can take support of the Rogi Kalyan Samiti or the hospital management committees available in the hospitals for this. And if a regular kind of on-site observation and suggestion for improvement happens in an institutionalized manner, then it really makes sense for achieving Washington healthcare facilities. Now, a couple of experiences will definitely help this process of improving Washington healthcare facilities. Now, Ichawar is a place in Sihor district of Madhya Pradesh. And Ichawar Community Health Center, you can see two photographs in a what you call a duration of 5 to 6 months. So initially, all these processes that I said was undertaken by the Rogi Kalyan Samiti of the hospital. training of the Rogi Kalyan Samiti and the staff, and they conducted an assessment of the facility and tried to see it from the user patient perspective and try to understand what all are the gaps, and then try to use the available resources for improving the things. And then the overall look of the facility was changed, and it started to look like a very clean and attractive kind of health facilities. It started to get the toilets were clean, and the hand washing areas were clean, which generally whenever we go to a public facility, a public building, one of the problems that we find is that this common resources, whether it is urinals, whether it is toilets, whether it is hand washing areas, the cleanliness is a major issue. So many of the people are not comfortable using them. So how can we make our hospitals, our healthcare facilities, the available wash infrastructure, water sanitation, hygiene infrastructure in those facilities be better, be usable, and it's well maintained, and all the kind of operations, repairs and maintenance are done in proper time, and how this is something feasible. So this is where the Ichawar case study coming in, when the hospital staff and the Rogi Kalyan Samiti, the supportive arrangements from the locality and the panchayats, they all come together to improve the healthcare facilities. What we see is that the changes are quite possible. The ownership of the people comes in, including the staff of the facility, the local people, the patients and patients' relatives. All of them start to own the facility as this is my own facility. Then the attention to the facility and the upkeeping of the facility becomes better. So that is where the Ichawar case study is. And similarly, in Banswara area hospital of the Kamareddy district in Telangana. So similar kind of exercises led them to become the best hospital in the state, and they received an award for so they have looked at, assessed the hospital, made capacities, built capacities of the staff, and finally they were able to improve several areas of the hospital to a better kind of healthcare facility. You can see that in the state of Kerala, there are several healthcare facilities that are equivalent to or much better than any private healthcare facilities. And in terms of visible cleanliness, in terms of water availability, in terms of sanitation availability, in terms of hand hygiene availability, in terms of overall facility organization. So they are, matching all the various international or national standards set up for these things. So this is not impossible within the public sector. Is the first kind of realization that we need to have when we talk about these kinds of things. So now coming to what all can be the important steps to be taken in terms of ensuring the optimum levels of water sanitation and hygiene in the healthcare facilities. The rural sanitation programs has a role. So the Swachh Bharat mission is into Swachh Bharat Mission 2.0 now. That 2.0 is having one of the important achievement of the ODF plus. Within that, the Swachh Bharat Mission has to look at the various institutions around it. This can be Anganwadis, this can be schools, this can be healthcare facilities, and integrate the water sanitation and hygiene facilities or the services within these specific facilities into the optimal level. So we need to see that these institutions are integral part of our community. We need to include them in all our promotional efforts and messages. So we need to talk continuously about improving water and sanitation hygiene in the healthcare facilities, which is quite important. Secondly, we need to also talk about and include institutions as the the owners of these institutions should not be. This can be health, the public health or family welfare department which is running these facilities, but we need to bring in communities as the owners of this these facilities. Then only the ownership and management kind of support will come from the community level. Then we need to also talk about the role of local governments and improve it. The panchayats or the corporations or the municipal bodies needs to see the healthcare facilities and the other institutions within the community as something within their localities, and they need to have an ownership. They need to have some allocation obligations and some kind of responsibilities, and they need to have some roles very clearly given as well, so that they allocate some funds, they allocate some supportive arrangements for the regular operations and maintenance and the quality of services within the healthcare facility. And then there should be some independent tracking mechanism for uh, to adherence to WASH standards in institutions. So these are something very important when it comes to the rural sanitation program, how it can improve the water and sanitation hygiene in healthcare facilities. When it comes to a collaborative measures, so this should come in like the health department, the sanitation program, and the local governments together see this as a need to see this as a collaborative program. So there should be an institutional MIS for improved kayakalp and to track the standard that has been set up for the water sanitation and hygiene in these facilities. Then we need to integrate structured behavior change messages and track outcomes, whether for the patients, whether for the staff, whether for the visitors. Then capacity building of the existing human resources within these institutions. We need to take up those roles, and we need to track health outcomes of community resulting from these changes. So what are the key changes that is happening because of the what you call the improvements in the water and healthcare facility? What are the changes that is happening to the health of the people? And then we need to also take up resource mobile allocation for continuous training and improvement of the wash situation in these facilities. And then some joint monitoring of the wash in the healthcare facilities should be taken up, and also ensure that through kind of adequate assessments, whether sufficient finances are provided for improving the washing healthcare institutions is also something that we need to ensure. And now coming to the COVID context, this is something very important. We have seen the first wave of COVID and the second wave of the COVID, and we are standing in front of a third wave of COVID. So in the context of the pandemic, how the water sanitation and hygiene systems are becoming more and more important. So this is, when it comes to the COVID, it's also having a protection of staff component there, in addition to protection of the patients and all that. And infection prevention and control becomes a major kind of inputs. But we can see that how equipped are our rural health facilities, how equipped are our urban health facilities, how even equipped are our private health facilities. They may be charging for various personal protective equipments and all that, but the simple things that everyone can improve, including the private health facilities and the public health facilities, there are several things that is missing. So the communities and civil societies were playing a major role in the first and second waves, but when the third wave is coming, it is important that all our facilities, from the rural health sub-centers, the primary health centers, the community health centers at the block level or in a town, or the civil hospitals or whatever they call them, the taluk hospital or all of them, and the district hospitals, including the medical colleges, the government medical colleges, all of them has to think about to optimize the wash infrastructure and also the hygiene behaviors, optimizing the hygiene behaviors in the specific facilities. This part probably was missing, and this leads to the pandemic getting spread easily and further. So that is something in the pandemic context, we need to see the washing healthcare facilities as even more important kind of measure. So one quicker assessments of healthcare facilities as more facilities get used for treatment of COVID-19 is important. So in terms of COVID-19, so we will have to develop some tools that helps us to assess the situation of these healthcare facilities, whether they have sufficient water available for drinking and other purposes, whether these are having toilet facilities available, whether these are having hygiene facilities available, whether these are having the cleaning and regular kind of disinfection and hygiene maintenance, whether they have arrangements, whether they have staffing system, whether they have other kind of like the physical distancing is a major hygiene measure here. So how they are doing that? So there are several things that the healthcare facilities needs to be very equipped in terms of managing or taking the pandemic heads on. So for that purpose, we need to develop assessment tools and processes, and then get this district level and block level teams to do the quick assessments and to provide guidance for them. And then facility improvement plans needs to be done very quickly based on the findings of this assessment. So whichever facility is taking up COVID-19 patients, even for quarantine, so they need to have a set of, here in the COVID part, one other important element is that sometimes even provision of food is happening, because there may not be restaurants or hotels that can provide supply food to hospitals, so maybe cooking and supply of foods may be undertaken. So you need to look at that part of hygiene and water sanitation as well. So we need to see this from a holistic perspective of how the facility can be equipped for providing all these array of services. So the facility improvement plan should cover these aspects, and then how to overcome the HR gap. Sometimes the cleanliness staff and waste management staff or the sanitation workers, the inadequacy of them in terms of number or in terms of their capacities can be a kind of challenge in front of managing some of the very important measures within the facility. So how to look at and address the HR gaps? What are the measures needed for them? So we can scope in volunteers for the purpose. We can scope in civil society organizations or NGO staff for the purpose, who can be quickly deployed after training. So what kind of arrangements, local arrangements, can be done for improving the upkeep of the facility better is an important measure that we need to look at. And then results of assessment need to be also available for the long-term planning. Some of them are very important for COVID and pandemic-related issues, but all of them are important for everyday measures as well. So in that purpose, we need to really talk about how the long-term investments are needed in many of them, and what all are the short-term ones, and what all are the medium-term kind of investments, and what all are the long-term investments is a important issue to look at. And then we need to also measure, also institute some rewards and incentives for the HCF with required facilities, and also support measures for those who are lagging behind to improve them and to take this up. And we need to understand, because of the facility, one of the important goals that we need to set up is that because of the facility, the COVID should not spread. The COVID, should be contented within the facility, not that it is leading to spread of the facility. For that, what all are the important and basic measures that the healthcare facilities are supposed to be having is very important. And finally, while we are doing this, it is also important to look at the other two main institutions in the village. Healthcare facilities are important, and that's where I was talking about. But we need to also look at when the schools are getting reopening. They are reopening, and students are going to go there. So teachers are going to regularly go there. So those, educational institutions like schools, whether it is primary school, whether it is kindergartens, whether it is middle schools, whether it is secondary schools, all of them, including colleges and other institutions. And then the small kids are often going to the Anganwadis. So Anganwadi centers are also having a very important role to play in this area. So we need to look at institutions as a whole, whether it is healthcare facilities, whether it is Anganwadis, or whether it is educational institutions. All these kind of institutions has to have basic and minimum level of services for water available in the premises, running water, and we need to have toilets, adequate number of toilets, gender segregated, accessible toilets for all kinds of people who are using the facilities. And then we need to have hand hygiene facilities, including the necessary infrastructure and supplies. including soaps or alcohol-based rubs, hand rubs. All that are quite important, when it comes to these facilities. So it is, in this, not only in the pandemic context. In pandemic context, it becomes even more important. But even generally, the overall human development is going to depend a lot on how we are looking at water sanitation and hygiene, which is a social determinant for health. And we really need to kind of ensure that these social determinants are available across all the people, without having any disparity between any kinds of people. And we need to ensure that these services are available, and these services are accessible, and these services are used. So in this kind of context, we need to, in the pandemic and the general context, we need to underscore that water sanitation and hygiene are paramount. And specifically, at the community level they are, at the household level they are, at the individual level they are, but they are also important at these institutions and other kind of facilities, the offices, the hospitals, healthcare facilities, and all that. And there should be, see, the federal system of India, given the Indian context, we need to see that there's the central government which issues guidelines and provides various kind of support for the programmatic structuring, planning, and all that. The state governments, as the leads for these things, takes leadership in implementing them. And district, we need to have this. The problem is that we are only counting the national and the state governments. We are yet, despite having the Panchayati Raj Act and the constitutional amendment in 1993, we have yet not started counting district panchayats as the district governments, or the block panchayats as the block governments, or the gram panchayats as the rural village government, or the corporations or municipalities or the townships as the urban governments. So we need to see them also as the government and fix up their responsibilities in terms of improving this. Then only we can achieve the water sanitation and hygiene facilities at the healthcare facilities, or in the other institutions in scale. So that scale becomes quite important. And I would definitely kind of argue for more allocations for this operations and maintenance purpose specifically, and also for infrastructure wherever necessary. And also various organizations at this point, whosoever are working supporting the healthcare facilities during the pandemic, they should also prioritize this issue of healthcare facilities, or Anganwadis or schools. Specifically healthcare facilities where the treatments are happening. If in case there are quarantine facilities or isolation facilities, they need to be counted as healthcare facilities at this point also. So all the organization which is supporting the government in these aspects should attend to these institutions, and the private healthcare facilities also should prioritize this, because the visible kind of cleanliness in the private healthcare facilities may be better, but what we see currently, whether it is the fungal infections post the COVID-19 infection, or the other kinds of pneumonia and various other bacterial infections, all are essentially coming from the institutional management systems for infection prevention and control. And it looks like there is a lot to improve in those areas, wherein the wash becomes a very primary kind of segment, and focus needs to be made onto these issues. So I would stop here in case there are questions or something, some discussions. And otherwise, I would like to underline again that this is a very important area that the public health currently should prioritize. Within the healthcare services, we need to see this as one of the very important pillar. And the health mission and the sanitation mission and the water mission, all that missions in a convergent manner should try to achieve this in a very time bound, within a time very specific timeline. And I hope the kind of awareness coming on these issues are really going to lead to such a situation. And thank you.